What's up, everybody? It's Emorja, and we're back for another episode on our series, Are We There Yet? And today we're going to be talking with some physicians. Now, there's this big question that I really have, and I need to get it settled before this show is over. But are dentists considered physicians? But we'll get to that soon. But in the meantime, though, I have a couple of brothers here with me that I want to also, introduce. We have Dr. Green, James Green. Man, how are things going for you?
Everything's good, man. I'm glad to be here.
Beautiful, beautiful. And we got Dr. Luther. But how to say last name, man?
Just say Dr. Q. It's fine.
Dr. Q. Q the Q. All right, man. I'm sure you get it all the time. So
there it is.
Well, that's what's up. James, tell us, man, where you from? You know, what did you study? All the good stuff, man.
So I'm gonna do my FAMU greeting. Greetings, I am James Green Jr. I originated from Jacksonville, Florida. Went to Florida A&M University for health science pre-physical therapy. Graduated 2014. From there, I went on to the University of St. Augustine, where I got my doctorate in physical therapy just recently in August of 2020. And yeah, now I'm working at an inpatient facility or acute setting, basically, at St. Vincent's Medical Center here in Jacksonville. And yeah.
Okay, bet. Now, Dr. Q, have y'all met each other before or ever seen each other or... Okay.
No.
Nice to meet you, my friend. You
nice
chose wrong, but it's cool.
Wait,
no, man, chose right. Chose right.
Wait, so what are you part of, James?
Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. Yeah, Alpha Z chapter. Yo to the good brothers out there.
Yeah, okay. Right. Well, I mean, we really want to talk about the best decision we would talk about from December 4th, 1906, but that's another story for another day. Man, hey, Dr. Q, so tell the folks where you from, all the good stuff, man.
So I will give my Hampton University greeting. Dr. Luther D. Quarles IV, born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida, went to Hampton University for undergrad, graduated with biology degree in cellular molecular biology. From there, I went to my master's in interdisciplinary health sciences at Drexel University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Graduated from there, and then went into got my doctorate of osteopathic medicine at Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. From there, I went and did a integrated family medicine, neuromusculoskeletal medicine residency at Stony Brook Southampton Hospital, Long Island, New York. Spent some time doing some sports medicine training at Auburn University and made my way back down here to Jacksonville, Florida, where I also work for St. Vincent's office.
Yeah.
There you go. Cool.
Exactly. When I tell you all of that just sound like a lot of school.
It was 16 years goes by pretty quick.
Isn't it crazy, man? Like, for example, I was always told, and the older I get, the more I see this, it takes forever for an 8-hour day to go by, but it takes just like that for a year to go by.
Yes.
That is crazy, man. So, first of all, I'm glad to talk to two black doctors. I don't get to have this opportunity too often. And of course, people are still making their way and claiming their doctorates. So this is an awesome treat for me and everybody who's watching. And for those who are watching, go ahead and share it on your page as well, too, to make sure that you all chime in. And if you have any questions, let us know, and I'll be checking the chat. But so I guess and how long have you been at St. Vincent, Dr. Q?
I got there August 2018.
Okay, so you got there right before the pandemic. Well, not right before, but some years before. So what are some challenges that you faced over the past year? Like, how has your over-the-year experience been?
It's funny. So it started, I was actually traveling in Colorado at the time when COVID really started spreading up in the U.S. And then I got back home, and literally when we got home, I went to the office, and literally the very next day, office shut down because we had one of the first 2 cases of COVID come to our office in Jacksonville, and it came to our office. So that was a big thing, and that was kind of a big automatic wake up call. So we went into protocols pretty quickly. The biggest thing I would say is that you got a lot of people who have stayed home, who are really not coming from routine care because I'm worried about COVID, and I get it. Everybody's worried about COVID. They don't want to take a necessary risk or make unnecessary trips or things like that. But people kind of miss some of the routine care, things like that they need to actually have done. So there's some patients who we haven't seen since 2019 who just now kind of started to trickle back in. They're like, oh, well, because COVID happened, I didn't follow up. I was like, yeah, but your blood pressure's out of crazy control, and this or that, what have you. We have patients who What patient I saw him in 2019, and then I didn't see him for a while. He showed back in my office. He had to have like a quadruple bypass, I want to say, had some other crazy stuff, diabetes out of control. I mean, but because he just, he was like, oh, well, I just stayed home and I just worked and, trying to stay away from people, but didn't take care of himself. Yeah. So those type of stuff does you kind of see some of the fallout from that on that opposite side of it. As far as COVID itself, handle some stuff inpatient a little bit. Most stuff has been predominantly outpatient, where we have really tried to work really diligently to have a person might possibly have COVID to be kind of a virtual visit, so kind of like a Zoom encounter almost, if you will, talking to the patient that way, then kind of managing it from that way as best as possible, and then having designated sites for patients be seen physically if need be. But it's been a challenge, and it's the things are I think they made it a little bit easier was they made it easier to set up, and actually they were really quick on in terms of rolling out a platform to make it so to have virtual visits with patients pretty easily.
Yeah.
And I think they were pretty open about in terms of like make it easy so patients weren't getting crazy bills for those type of events and stuff like that too, which is also positive because people need to be seen. The one good thing I will say that they've made the rapid testing pretty easy as well for patients.
Really?
That's good. Yeah, they're actually rolling out the vaccines pretty reasonably as well. So while we're not where Georgia is with the age 16 up, which I think they started today, I think that's actually the plan. I think in about a couple weeks, I have to double check. The governor announced it recently. So that should be hopefully spreading out the number, because I do sports medicine too. So I have while they pushed last year to have a shortened high school football season, right? And that was nerve-wracking being on the sideline for that because you're seeing, your kids held together and they're like, oh, we're trying to be distant, but it's tackle football. It's not like it's golf or it's baseball or something where you can be more spread out. It's people in close contact with each other. Now, luckily, we turned out pretty okay. None of the kids really got sick. We had a couple coaches that may have popped up, but otherwise, for the most part, our kids did okay.
Man.
So it wasn't necessarily my decision, but that's what the schools decided they wanted to do.
Yeah, and honestly, I think obviously a lot of universities sort of experience that as well. So I say that because specifically speaking to Notre Dame and football. Man, I don't know if you all caught it, but we know whenever we played out, I believe was it Clemson or somebody we played, everybody just ran out on the field. We had just started school, and you saw thousands of students, coming from the stands on the field, and the football players they were told, they said, listen, if you win this, people are going to come on the field, so get out as quickly as you can. But not everybody could. So of course we saw the rise in numbers on campus, and we had to shut it right back down. So it's like. We know sports, there has to be some kind of interaction. But what do? Do you go ahead and play the sport and hope you don't get sick? Or do you take precaution, like, you know what, let's do what's safe? I think now people are getting into the groove where they're a little more comfortable. But, I mean, yeah.
No, completely agree. The NBA model, the bubble, worked out really well. They're very stringent about their testing, about who they allow in, really controlling that. So I think in those respects, it actually worked out really well. Even now, we had some, as you can see, March Madness, there's limited stands, people in the stands, things like that. So they've actually made it easier to allow games like that continue to occur, especially able to kind of isolate teams. Now, certain things are a little bit easier when you have smaller groups, smaller crowd. Of course, that people want to start opening things back up. That's fine. I think now once we start getting these vaccines rolled out, I think you'll definitely see the transmission rates going down less and less, making it harder for people to really get sick. And that's really the main thing.
Yeah, very true. And Dr. Green, so you do some. Well, you're a physical therapist, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what have been some challenges that you've had since you have started in your career?
Well, actually, everything kind of hit last year while I was still in school, but I was on my internship out at an outpatient facility in Atlanta, Georgia at Emory. And when it hit, the patient population that we deal with was geriatrics, orthopedics. So half of our caseload basically fell through. Nobody was basically coming in because they were scared, number one. So pretty much all our geriatric patients just never showed up. So I've been affected that way. Number two, that internship that I am actually speaking of, it actually got cut short a weekend. And then I wasn't able to finish that internship until, I want to say, end of July, either early August. And then they basically shipped us back out there to complete those internships. Some of my classmates actually didn't even get a chance to finish that internship until after graduation, which was in August. So yeah, we've been affected severely. But I will say at my current occupation now at the St. Vincent's Riverside, half of our physical therapists also were cut. I mean, because once again, you had those patients who weren't coming into the facilities due to non-elective surgeries, which is pretty much a lot of our caseload for those ortho procedures and such. So nobody was getting any therapy done. No procedures were being done. So nobody had any therapy or needed therapy, which, kind of cut us to the wayside a little bit. I know SNFs were also, skilled nursing facilities were also severely affected as well. I want to say they cut their numbers. I don't want to throw a random number out there, but I know one facility, the one that I did an internship at in Hanover, Virginia, they cut about 75% of their, cut about 75% of their rehab, their rehab team. So it's been a ride, to say the least, but it looks like numbers are getting back up now.
Yeah.
I can only really speak for my facility now, and our numbers are pretty much back to normal now. Everybody's getting those elective surgeries once again. People aren't as afraid to go out into the communities as much. I won't speak for everyone, but things are kind of getting back to where they used to be when it comes to our rehab numbers.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it's definitely been an uphill battle, but definitely hurt us on a surmountable level. So,
man, that's wild. And so, with what you do, so just sort of give us the breadth, I guess, of all you do. I know you said you work with geriatrics. Is that specifically where you find most of, I guess, where you're most interested, or it's pretty broad?
Physical therapy is definitely broad. It depends on the setting. So. In my setting, I'm in the acute setting. So pretty much anybody that's in the hospital, I pretty much see. That goes from neuro to ortho to elective procedures such as bariatric surgery. We have cardiology patients. So we have cabbages, we have mitral valve replacements, literally any and everything that takes place, we pretty much see. Now, if you go into other settings, more so like your outpatient settings, then you'll see more ACL repairs, lower back pain. You can see really anything in outpatient setting, because those are going to be more your direct access patients there. So it honestly just depends on the setting. If you go to your skilled nursing facilities, you're going to see more of your geriatric patients. They're unable to take care or care for themselves at home, complete all those activities of daily living without any assisted help to complete it. So they kind of are there at the skilled nursing facility. So.
Okay. And Dr. Q, what did you do? So because y'all have so many, like y'all have some heavy jobs and you deal with a lot of patients, and so you deal with their problems, and God forbid you have a day where you have your own problems. Like how do y'all find balance? Like what do you do in your spare time, Q?
Oh man, there's a lot. I mean, it's it's funny you say this. I mean, I have an amazing son, and I have a very supportive woman in my life. So definitely
love it.
Definitely does make things a lot easier. Having good friendships also kind of helps you balance out. I mean, we're all fraternity, so having that connection with your friend kind of helps pull you out of that hole where you kind of fight something, and it's something just like you just get home, you're just exhausted. You're like, I don't feel like doing anything. You get just brothers like, hey man, what's up? Like, let's get lunch. I'm like, all right, cool. It just helps you kind of get out of that mode. Yeah. Because one of my things is I like to travel now. I
Man, me
can't get
too.
it. Was a whole lot of travel going down, right? So that's been a hard one to deal with.
Yeah.
But you'll still find the time. Taking time doing stuff like this. I like video, I like gaming as well. Movies too. So things like that, I get a chance to do those types of things. Playing golf.
What's your favorite genre of movies?
Oh, right now it's probably just all the superhero stuff because it's very nostalgic.
Okay.
Growing up, just loving comic books and stuff like that as a kid. So, it's just nostalgic, kind of seeing some of the stuff brought out to the screen. So I kind of like all that stuff. But besides that, I probably say anything like a good, good suspense thriller, things like that. It's kind of
there we go. I was waiting for that.
yeah, stuff like that. Things, But probably favorite movie of all time is probably The Godfather, though. That one. Godfather 1 and 2, probably two of my top favorite movies. And then after that's like Star Wars and things like that.
Okay.
So yeah, so stuff like that for the most part.
No, I feel you. James, what about you, man? What you like to do?
So in my spare time, my biggest thing I like to do is fish. My dad has a boat, and we have a couple of friends with boats as well. So we'll go out a couple miles off and, stick that pole out there and see what's biting. That's what's for dinner tonight, But obviously haven't been able to get to that considering I was in school studying for boards. But other than that, exercise, I love to work out. Like he said, we're in fraternities. You also have a good friend, a core friend group as well that I can tap into. And we can often, like he said, playing the game every now and then, Call of Duty or something. Just something to kind of take you off what's going on in the real world, anything. Like I'll go straight from the job and go around a couple miles listening to, the latest album that just dropped. So yeah, anything to just kind of get your mind off it, but it definitely directed towards healthy options.
Exactly. Yeah, man. Who on your playlist?
Who's on my playlist? Right now, Rod Wave. He just dropped.
Okay. All right.
Rod Wave just dropped. I'm listening to a little bit of, I always got to have some Drake on there. Shout out to the light-skinned fellas out there.
Q, there you go, Q.
No hate, none but love. Who else have I been listening to? Rick Ross. Let's see, who else? Dirk, Future. Yeah, pretty much hip hop. And then every now and then on the weekends, I take it back to the old schools. You got the Stylettes, got the Commodores, got Temptations.
You might know a little bit of something there.
Yeah, man.
What about you, Q?
And right now, I'm looking for that versus Isley Brothers versus Earth.
Me too.
That right there. Oh, Sunday night, I'll be front.
I'm gonna clear my whole night for that one.
Yep. All right, talk. Don't nobody call me. Nah, I'm watching. Like, you come to the crib 5, and we watching this.
Yeah.
But no, really, I've really got the audiobook. So I've gone through.
Really?
Yeah, like that's the thing. I'm like, because I was like trying to make music. Sometimes I like it like as background when I'm like working on focus. That helps me focus. Okay. So if I'm in the gym, it's great for blocking out. Let me focus on what I'm doing. Yeah. But I really like audiobooks, and I've gotten the podcast a lot too. So I've actually been kind of playing around with like screenwriting and stuff like that, and just writing in general, creative writing, which is just something I really love doing because I love good storytelling and just going through different things. So one of my favorite books probably is The Alchemist. Which is a great book. I think everybody should always read that. I've read through it a couple times. Yeah, so just difference. Right now, I'm doing what book am I on right now? I forget because I flip between different books. So, African Samurai, the story of Yusuke, who was Yakuza. I should say he was actually the African slave, a servant of the Jesuit church who traveled to Japan, and then coming in service of few. Actually, there was a rumor that Chadwick Boseman was actually played this character in a movie before his time of passing. So I don't know if they're gonna switch it to a different person or if they're gonna continue with that. But that's what I've been kind of getting into a little bit, which I think is a really cool story.
That's what's up.
Yeah. So stuff like that.
Yeah, go ahead, James.
Oh no, I was just saying I actually heard about that. And I believe there was like tales of it, and I believe you were right with Chadwick Boseman being playing or starring in that role. So yeah, that's definitely dope. I was reading a couple of books, but I like to have like books that kind of take me elsewhere once again. Everybody's always, got this new inspirational. I'm like, I read my
Yeah.
I want to read something else. So my favorite author is James Patterson, but recently I've been tapping into my African American authors, and my favorite book at the moment is I think it's Children of Blood and Bone. It was one of the main books, and I think Oprah actually did I forget what Oprah does. She does like the
Yeah.
little book readings.
I'll tell you about
So
every book in the library.
Yeah, so I definitely recommend that to everybody that's listening. Children of Blood and Bone. Yeah, great author, great storytelling. Yeah,
That's what's up.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal book. I think I actually got the sequel lined up. I gotta double check.
Yeah, I'm halfway through it.
Okay, I gotta start on. I fell off, but this COVID thing threw me off my usual book game. So.
Man, I feel you. Listen, y'all. For those who listen, y'all better read because reading is fundamental. And listen, we like to read too. Contrary to popular belief, Black people do read books. So yeah. Now, hey, Q, you were talking earlier about lately you've been doing some presentations, and we don't have to go through the whole thing, but sort of tell us how Black Lives Matter and medicine relate to one another.
So Black Lives Matter and medicine, the way I kind of tied that in to each other, first I kind of defined both. What are the meanings of both? And then really, we know what medicine is. But what is Black Lives Matter? Because there's a lot of misinformation, things like that. People have go with these different accusations. I mean, and some things are more favorable than others, but for the most part, it's all about really the representation of Black people across all spectrums, straight, gay, trans, whatever escaping, but all of those having those voices. And sometimes it gets lost a little bit when certain things happen. So tying that with medicine, I kind of gave it more of a backdoor approach where I said, okay, why does Black Lives Matter? How do we get here? So I started off as far back as I could, which was, I believe, in 1619 when they first had 20 some odd Africans dropped off in Virginia. That's kind of where I started to talk there, and I pretty much went through the whole entire brief digression in terms of how we got to where we are today, then highlighting the key points of the major things. So main things being post Civil War Reconstruction era that led to this further aggression towards blacks, and then from there, then it led to segregation. Then from there, we went to redlining, and really how redlining is kind of one of the key reasons why we have socioeconomic disparities. Because everybody says socioeconomic disparities, but they really know what that means. What does that mean? So if you look at what redlining is, and NPR did a great little thing, there's stuff on PBS about it, I'm not getting to it, but if you look at that, that is pretty much which segregation fed into, pretty much just allowed a financial constraint that constraints happening. From that, we then have that directly impacting health.
Yeah. And
that's kind of how I went in that direction there. So you see how, it's a money thing, but it really started off as a race thing. And while the socioeconomics is now the haves and the have-nots, if you will, it still has its roots completely from Jim Crow segregation type era there. Yeah. So that's how we kind of got to that point where medicine is kind of in this disparity where if you have the money, you can get better care. If you have the great insurance, you get better. You have the access. Yeah. But still, there is still that thing. But again, still, just because you have money doesn't necessarily mean you are free from the prejudices. Case in point, Serena Williams, one of the greatest athletes in the world, had to sit there and advocate and argue for her second of having a pulmonary embolism after having her first.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, just after going through another life risking experience of having a child. So the fact is that it goes on the fact that if you then I spun off from that and you look at the maternal and fetal infant mortality rates, the disparities with low birth weights, higher maternal deaths, just amongst African American women, not even getting into anything else, just that stuff alone is such a higher disparity. And why is that? And then how do we address that? And going through all those different factors there. And again, that does go into, if you're working 3 jobs, do you really have time? I mean, I've had young ladies that showed up to my door at 36 weeks pregnant and have not had a single doctor's visit. And no OB/GYN was going to touch them because that's absolutely, it's too risky. So they're considered such a high risk that they'll pretty much say, okay, well, when her water breaks, she goes to labor, head to the ER. That's it. That because again you're worried because they're worried about the litigation, and protection for themselves. And I get it. Being a OBGYN has a high litigation risk. So those things that kind of come into play.
Resources. I mean, it's difficult, and it's like we want to take care. For example, I was watching Chicago Med. I love watching Chicago Med.
Mm-hmm.
But there was this one girl on there. She had just had a baby, but because she didn't have the she didn't have the resources to go to the doctor. She ended up delivering it, but had some complications. And so whenever they delivered the baby, he didn't come out what we would call normal. Everything wasn't intact as it should have been. And so it was based upon because of something she ate and she didn't know. So it's like she eventually gave up her baby, a Black woman. She eventually gave up her baby. And then one of the nurses, they take care of everything from there. But it goes to show that it's heartbreaking whenever women who are pregnant, they have to go to the doctor. They need to make sure that they're checked on and make sure that everything is working properly. They're fine. The baby's fine. But when you're in situations like that, it's like, what do you do? You
do the best that you can do when you have those situations that come up, like it's in those situations. You try to give them some prenatal vitamins. You try to make sure their blood pressure is good, their sugars are good, things as best as you can. And then from there, just depending on how late they are in the pregnancy, really kind of depends. There's some groups that do more specialized in high risk OB, that may be able to take some patients like that. But I mean, sometimes if you're already that close to term, really, I mean, the good thing about it is that the human body would do this long before we really medically got involved in this respect. So for somebody who's healthy, but still it's just that risk because again, like not knowing what you're eating, because the dietary stuff isn't the same. We also had those thousands of years ago either, where we're eating a lot more natural organic foods, and probably the stress level wasn't as high. People weren't worried about having to work 2 or 3 different jobs just to make ends meet and things like that. Also in the midst of a global pandemic. So all those things do play a role. And sometimes it makes it harder, especially if you don't have the right insurance or the right coverage. That could be a really really limiting thing. And I think people don't really understand that. Like, it's like, well, I have insurance. Yeah, you do, but your insurance is not going to pay for this. Or the doctors that you want to see, they don't accept the insurance because insurance doesn't pay them, or they're not in the network. They're just all these other different things. So it's unfortunate that it does happen.
That definitely is. Hey, James, let me ask you, man. I just sort of throw you a little curveball. How was life at FAMU? Like, what was the life like? Like, I mean, I grew up in Defuniak Springs. So, I mean, I went to FAMU like a couple of times. Not enough to say I know where every building is. But yeah, what was life like out there, man?
It was euphoric. It was a utopia. It was unreal. It was literally everything that I wanted. It made me into the man that I am today.
Okay.
I encourage every person, Black and or other race, doesn't matter. You should experience an HBCU. And of course, you should experience even past that, attend a couple classes, man.
Exactly.
You should definitely experience an HBCU, and of course, I'm going to throw mine out there and say that you should attend Florida A&M University because it is the number one HBCU out there.
We really tried to start tonight. I mean, I can go all night. Listen. Kent University is a standard of excellence. I want to say that, and I do agree with Dr. Green as an HBCU is a life-enhancing experience. And it is by far one of the best decisions I think you can make because it while I feel like it's not a real world, I'm like, it actually in a sense kind of it embraces and removes race at the same time. Right? It embraces the fact that of who you are, of the African American heritage and the culture, but at the same time removes that as a barrier to you being the only Black person in the room. So you don't have to be, you don't have to sit there and be the voice of Black America.
Thank you.
In this setting, you don't have to. You absolutely do not have to. It's not a requirement. But you get a chance to really. It is, but you get a chance to really experience the different facets of Black America, from Cali to, which is a completely different Black American experience, to the Midwest, Chicago, Detroit, to New York, Jersey, Florida, Texas, Mississippi, the DMV. Oh, go music. Lord, when I first saw that, I was like, "What are they doing? What is this? What is this beat your feet? What is gumbo sauce?" But I learned all it. But it's like something that you just learn. You're like, "Yo, that's crazy." But you get a chance to really get that experience of just that whole entire beautiful quilted pattern of what Black America is, and then you get a chance to really get. And then the fact that as you look at the numbers, and the thing that put me on this, where it made sense, was when I was talking to like somebody from, I think it was like Boston College or UNC, a recruiter, and they were like, "Why do you think we come here?" They come here looking for Black qualified candidates for their graduate schools, for their jobs, for this, for that, whatever. So that's why they're coming to look there for you. So you get a chance to get those different types of exposure to people actually coming to seek you out. And I think it's just an amazing experience. You get a chance to make some friendships. I made some of the best friends of my entire life to this day.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I believe it.
At a HBCU. And I wholeheartedly agree that that HBCU experience, absolutely 100% recommend. Go through. Yes, it will teach you the patience and the BS of going through doing financial aid.
I was just about to mention something about those long lines.
Listen. You will learn that. You will also learn the importance of proper grooming, you will learn how the fact that because you can't show up like. Well, I can never show up
any way you want
to. No.
There's an expectation of to be. Well, I'll say there's an expectation to be great, but at the same time, I can ask both of you this: can it also be not necessarily unrealistic? But is it okay for? Let me back up even more. Black excellence can sometimes be stressful for some people because they think they got to be 100% every day. When in fact we know life happens. We can't always do that. But in doing that, though, do you find yourself where it's like, okay, I'm trying to make sure that I walk 10 steps ahead, so that way people know I'm prepared, or that way I'm not falling behind. Have you ever had those moments where it can be too much? Like, okay, I have an off day, I'm not at 100 right now, but how do you operate like that on a campus that is in high demand for Black excellence?
I just fall back on my grandmother's words of you have to be 3 times as better as your counterpart. And when I say counterpart, more so is speaking of, people of white descent. I never saw it as a competition. I more so saw it as camaraderie. Like, let's all get to the finish line. So on a campus such as FAMU, nobody was really like, hey, man, I'm trying to be better than you because I want to get X, Y, Z. It was more so like, no, I'm trying to get to the same place that you're trying to get to. So let's build each other up. Let's help each other out. I have several friends of my own who literally are trying to get into DPT school or who are in DPT school, and I've done everything that I could to assist them to get there. So it's not necessarily a competition. It's more so let's all get to that end goal and let's figure out everything that we can do to make this dream happen or make this dream come true.
Yeah.
So that's how that's how I and my friends or my frat, everything, that's how we look at it. We're trying to get to that end goal and we're trying to do this together. It's not a competition, it's just a race. And we're all in these different lanes going that same, if not, different speeds, but we're all going to get to that end goal.
Yeah, very true.
Completely 100% co-sign on everything he just said. That's exactly what I felt. I never felt the pressure of Black excellence to probably having to be the only Black person in the room. Mm-hmm. Then that's when you feel like the pressure's on, right? Mm-hmm. But when you're there, it never felt like that. It just felt like we're on this journey together. We're all trying to make it to this point. Graduation, job, graduate school, medical school, PT school, dental school, whatever it is your next. That was the work. We had the vision, working together, encouraging each other. I mean, I had in my core study group, we had 4 of us. One with PhD, one with dental, one with podiatry, and I went medical.
Nice.
So, and we were all different. We all just worked well together. We were all different levels, skill levels. Some people were really, really great, outstanding. Some of us are like myself, like a BC student, just whatever. But we sat there, just grind. We grinded together and we learned together.
That's the important thing. Yeah, I love that. And you know, the only challenge, well, one of the challenges that I've always heard, and I've seen this as well too, because there's so many black people who are out there trying to be great. Sometimes we, in our community, we have this crab mentality, which is like, you know, we're all trying to get there. So why are you trying to pull me back? But needless to say, though, there are many people out there who are working together. Like there's room for all of us to excel. And it is. So I mean, hey, but it's all good though. I'm glad to have you two on here to even talk about that. So before we go, tell us something we don't know about you. So I'm gonna go with you, Dr. Q. Tell us something special.
Something special. Oh man, man. Oh, gee. Man. I don't even know, bro. I don't even know. There's a lot. I mean, give me something, like, give me an example of what is you think. Like, it's something like, I'm not a talented person. I don't have any hidden talent things like that. You know, I can't say I'm up here, you know, trying to, write some great musical composition, but anything like
okay.
that.
So you did say you like to read. You said that you like to write. That, you know, as far as screenwriting. So something else. I'll let you decide. So you told us those two already.
Oh, jeez. Let's see. I mean, I've done cage diving with great white sharks and off the coast of South Africa. Off the coast of South Africa. It's probably one of the things. If I wasn't a physician, I probably would have studied sharks.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to follow up from that.
Look, if Shark Week comes on, you won't find me. You'll find me at home. I'm take off the whole week. I'm just not.
No, I feel that. You know, wait, what part of Africa did you go to? I've been there twice.
So I went to I lived in Tanzania for a bit. I did some research.
You lived in Tanzania?
Yeah, Tanzania. I was at Dar es Salaam, the University of Dar es Salaam. Did some research there. I did like a full semester there, and then I went and did a couple weeks in South Africa. So I flew down to South Africa. And then that's where I was. I did. So that was like all the touristy stuff I did. You know, went and pet the lions and checked out the elephants, stuff like that. But yeah, it was good. It was good stuff.
Man, and you know, it's funny because this past summer, was it this past summer? I'm losing track. No, two summers ago, because COVID was last year. Well, I went to Kenya and I went to Uganda, and the rest of the group, they went to Tanzania. Got about to go to Hampton for the conference, but I've heard that Tanzania is so beautiful, man. I have to make some time to go back over there. I really want to go see the pyramids, but we know why. All right, so Dr. Green, what's up with you, man? Tell us something we don't know.
Something that you don't know. Wow. Well, I mean, something that I'm very proud of. I'm having my first child in like 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
So yeah, there you go. Her name is Sage. So it'll be Sage Green. Yeah, so y'all look that color up, man. Yeah, I'm very excited about that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, final question: have the both of you gotten your shot yet, or y'all thinking about it?
I've got mine. I got Pfizer.
Okay.
Mine is on the way. So the hospital was actually offering them at one point in time, but I was on an internship during that time frame. So yeah, I'm kind of in between right now, just kind of waiting. So I definitely encourage everyone to go out and get it. But yeah, for me, it's just playing a waiting game. So
yeah, no, I totally feel it. Listen, everybody, thank you all for joining in with us, Dr. Q and Dr. Green. I thank you both so much, brothers. Means a lot. So listen, everybody, make sure to go share this with all of your friends, anybody who you know who may want to be future doctors, physical therapists, neuromuscular skeletal, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions, feel free to hit them up. Because I'm pretty sure that they would love to help you. So you all have a great day, and we'll all catch up.